I'd been looking forward to Thanksgiving at Uncle Robert's orchard all year. The place was beautiful in November, with those endless rows of apples stretching across rolling hills and crisp air smelling like earth and fruit. My cousin Emily and I were supposed to pick apples for the pies while the adults started cooking the grand Thanksgiving feast. We headed out around 6 in the morning when the sun was barely up. The orchard looked different in the early light. It was darker, with shadows between trees that seemed longer and deeper than usual. Emily brought 2 baskets, and we wandered down the rows as we compared apples and argued about which ones were best for pie. I was enjoying the moment when I suddenly spotted a woman standing about 30 feet away. She was hiding among the trees. At first, I thought she was one of the farmhands Uncle Robert sometimes hired for harvest season, but something about her felt awfully creepy. Her posture was too rigid, like she was trying too hard to look natural, and her stare felt too invasive. As my eyes adjusted to the dim light, I saw more details that made my stomach turn. Her hair was patchy and ripped out in clumps, leaving bare scalp visible in places. The skin on her face sagged weirdly, like it had been stretched over something that wasn't quite the right shape. She smiled at us, and it was the worst smile I'd ever seen in my whole life. Her mouth moved, but nothing on her face did. The flat and empty smile didn't reach her eyes. Emily grabbed my arm and whispered, "Let's go back to the house." Before we could move, the woman giggled and skipped closer to us. "Hi, girls. Would you like to play hide and seek with me?" I swear, her voice scared me. Panic hit me like ice water. Something about her felt deeply wrong. Emily and I started running without answering her. Behind us, I heard footsteps and giggles. She wasn't running, but skipping, and the sound bounced off the wet grass. We raced through the rows of trees, forgetting all about our baskets and the apples. Branches scraped our arms, and the cold morning dew soaked through our shoes and jeans, making every step heavier. My lungs burned. I risked a glance back and nearly fell over. She was closer than she should have been, moving between the trees in ways that didn't make sense. We'd run down row 7, but she appeared at the end of row 8, then suddenly behind us again. Emily was crying, gasping for breath. We cut through the rows diagonally, trying to lose her, but every time I looked back, she was there with her horrible, sagging face and empty smile. The farmhouse finally came into view. We tore out of the orchard and sprinted across the yard. Our shoes were soaked. It made the porch steps slippery. We climbed up, and I fumbled with the handle. It felt jammed shut. I tried again, harder this time. I looked over my shoulder, and she was right behind us, just a few feet away. I swear I could feel her cold breath on the back of my neck. Just as her fingertips brushed my hair, I yanked the door and we threw ourselves inside. I slammed the door and locked it. Emily collapsed against the wall, hiccuping. My aunt came out of the kitchen, asking what had happened, why we were back so soon. I opened my mouth, but words refused to come out, so I pointed a shaky finger at the window. The woman was right there, standing at the kitchen window with her face pressed against the glass. Her skin looked even worse now. It was pale and waxy, with patches that looked like they were peeling away. Her breath fogged the glass as she grinned. Then she raised one hand and waved at me. Her fingers were bent at unnatural angles. I screamed. My aunt rushed to the window, but by the time she looked, the woman was gone. Uncle Robert came running from upstairs, and my parents from the dining room. Emily and I were bombarded with questions we couldn't answer. We tried to explain what we'd seen, and they listened patiently, but I could tell nobody believed us. Uncle Robert said he didn't hire anyone this year, and the orchard was closed to outsiders. My dad suggested maybe we saw a scarecrow and got spooked in the early morning light, but Emily and I knew what we saw and had barely escaped. Uncle Robert walked out to the orchard with my dad to check. They came back 20 minutes later, saying they found our baskets with the apples, but they couldn't see anyone else. We spent the rest of Thanksgiving inside. I kept watching the windows, expecting to see her face pressed against the glass again. We left the next morning. My parents said I seemed shaken up, and maybe the country air wasn't agreeing with me. On the drive home, I stared out the back window at the orchard disappearing behind us. And there, At the edge of the trees, I saw her one last time. She was standing, still as a ghost. She grinned at me with a wave, as if we were best friends. That was 6 years ago. I'm 20 now, living in the city. I haven't been back to Uncle Robert's orchard since. Emily won't talk about it. Whenever I try to bring it up, she changes the subject or leaves the room. But sometimes, late at night, I dream of apple trees and walking through dark rows in the early morning. And in those dreams, I always hear the brittle voice behind me, asking if I want to play. I always wake up before I turn, because some part of me knows that if I see her face again, that stretched skin and empty eyes, I won't wake up at all. She'll still be there, pressed against the glass, grinning and waiting for me to come back and play.